All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me just remove this. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to the first live stream of 2026. How is everybody doing today? It's good to have you guys. For those that are watching later, welcome. For those that are in the chat, welcome as well. It's good to see you guys. It's been quite a while since I have done a stream, but hopefully everybody is enjoying, depending on where you live, the awesome snowstorm that we're having here. One second. There we go. All right, we have Derek Holloman, we have A Romo, we have Ionic Blood, and we have Trizzo. What's going on, brothers? How is everybody doing? I don't know where you guys are located, but here in the East Coast, we're hitting roughly about a foot of snow. I went out for a very, very long hour and a half walk in this blizzard, and then did a little bit of shoveling as well, just about a few hours ago. And then I came inside. I'm now having my hot chocolate with my Bob Ross mug. Oh yeah. Yeah, dude, like I'm a big fan of the snow. I love winter. I'm a winter baby. So this is like right up my element. And the fact that we haven't had this much snow in a very, 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 very long time, I was through the roof. I mean, right now it's still snowing. It's projected to be still snowing up until like 6 or 7 a.m. So when I measured it, we were basically at about a foot of snow. So I would say roughly about a little bit right under my kneecap, at least where I'm located. I mean, maybe the measurements are wrong, but that's what I've seen at least. And then, yeah, so right now, if I look out my window, there's still like heavy winds. We still got snow going on. It looks very beautiful out this window because it's like purple skies. Snow is falling. You can see like the snow falling from the lights and stuff, and it just looks so damn beautiful, man. I absolutely love it. I'm enjoying. And as you guys can see, I still have my Christmas lights up. I usually do not take them down until after January. So usually around February, that's when I take them down, but we'll see if I still feel like it because putting them up was such a damn hassle. We have Alan Balcom. What's going on, brother? How's it going? Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for the GI Joe Classified heavy duty figure. I absolutely love it. We have all right, let me just read the comments real quick. All right, so Derek Holman says, good evening. A Romo says, what's up? It's been a while since I got your money, brother. What money are you referring to? Do I owe you money? Ionic Blood says, happy snow day, guys. Yes, definitely happy snow day. It's Trizzo says, sore from shoveling. Yeah, you know what the crazy part is? If we were to shovel like tomorrow, that stuff would turn into a block of ice. So it's better that you guys shovel like now, even though it's probably still snowing, but at least you can get a good chunk out of the way, and try to be careful with that as well. Derek Holloman is cold, very cold. A Romo says, I'm located in southern Illinois. It's effing cold, and we got about what you're getting right now. Dude, I mean, I've been seeing posts that Illinois has hit like negative something. So where I am, right, right now it's about 6 degrees outside. But I do have relatives in Illinois, around the Addison, Naperville, what's the other area it's called? Elmhurst. And they were telling me that they're it's like negative something. So when I visited Illinois about 2 years ago, it got so cold to the point where if you go outside, you can literally feel like your lips burn. It's like a very still feeling in the air, which is very interesting if you're someone who's never experienced negative degree weather. So even when I went outside, I do not know if anybody here in the chat is part of the military or has done any type of training or missions like involving cold climates, but when I was walking through this blizzard, around my town, in the small like area that we have, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, imagine if I was an actual GI Joe and I'm holding like a weapon, I'm trying to prevent myself from being attacked by Cobra, and I'm trying to use like the scope, but I'm like shivering and my hands are shaking because it's like numb, and I'm like, how did like it's crazy how like, I wouldn't survive one bit. In Indianapolis got around 9 inches. That's crazy. Yeah, I think it's all projected around like 9 to 12 roughly. Um, the loneliest monk, what's going on, brother? With the shark emoji and the ice cube, hell yeah. Alan Balcom says 23 degrees here. I mean, still 23 degrees is still pretty cold. 6 below this morning. Says Derek Holloman, 15 below on Friday morning where I live. Yeah, 15 below, man. That's crazy. A Romo says it's 3. Damn, 3. A Carmen Jr. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Says northeast about a foot and still snow inhaling. Wish I had a Snowcat right now to bring outside. Dude, having a GI Joe Classified Snowcat and Arctic Hiss would be so fantastic for photography right now. This is what I call like the absolute greatest blizzard of all time. I waited years for this kind of blizzard to hit, because with all this global warming stuff going on, we haven't had that much snow in like, 10 years. Like we've had some snow here and there, but this was the first time where I think since the 90s where I remember getting like at least more than a foot of snow, which is so damn exciting. But I believe you're also this is your first time writing in the chat, so welcome, Akeman Jr. Hopefully, yeah, if I pronounce that right. Alan says that's why I live in South Texas because I hate cold weather. Yeah, cold weather is I mean, some people, they have to survive in it, but me, like, I thrive in this weather, man. It's like the best time of the year for me. I can do cartwheels and put a smile on my face. Cobra la 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 77. Friday morning in Wisconsin with wind chill was -21 and felt like -41 below. That's crazy, man. And I believe this is your first time here in the chat, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Nor Gatherer says, welcome to the chat. I believe this is your first time here as well. I've walked through Arctic level wind chills growing up in Maine. That's wild. So it looks like a lot of you do have experience with the cold, so that's good. For people that are more into the heat, this is not ideal weather for you guys for sure. But if you're someone who has been here, then you know how that is. Flaming Crow says, "Hey Shark, welcome Flaming Crow. We have another legend here on the channel. Flaming Crow, great supporter of the channel, has been here for quite a few years now. So welcome Flaming Crow. It's good to have you, especially with that Cobra Commander default photo." A Carmen Jr. says, "You got it right. Thanks for the welcome, Quiet Watcher." It's all good, man. No worries. Quiet Watchers are cool. All right, so I won't take up too much of your time because I know you guys have better things to do, but it is a snowstorm, like I said, and what better way than to talk about toys? Cobra Lala says, "I've been in many chats, just normally keep to myself." All good, man. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching, I still appreciate it. I mean, it's not mandatory to write in the chat, but if you do, that's freaking awesome. I usually say that when people write in the chat room, in the chats, it makes it easier for me to have an actual conversation with you, because when I do my regular SHARKNEWZ videos, sometimes it's hard for me to respond to like every single comment on there. But when I do a live stream and I talk to you on the chat, then it's like a personal one-on-one conversation. That way it makes it more meaningful, Cobra for Life says, "Big shout out to you, Shark." Thank you so much, Cobra for Life. Another legend here on the channel, big supporter. I remember seeing your channel name for a long time. All right, so who's ready to talk about some GI Joes while it's cold out? Let's do this. We're gonna have some fun tonight. And once again, for those that are here in the chat, thank you guys so much. For those that are watching that are not in the chat, welcome. For those that are gonna be watching later, I welcome you guys as well. So let's get the ball rolling, shall we? All right. So first things first, let's talk about the upcoming 2026 events so far. For those that are new to the line, and maybe perhaps I might have new subscribers here on the channel, I'm not sure. But GI Joe Day is February 1st. So what exactly is GI Joe Day? Now, don't get confused with Yojo June. GI Joe Day, oh man, my brain is blanking. GI Joe Day is kind of like you're celebrating the anniversary of GI Joe, so it's more like how long has it been, like, was it 60 something years since GI Joe has came about? So it's kind of like to honor the brand, honor the line, and we should, let's see, it's right now, it's January 25th. So we still got roughly under a week-ish before we hit GI Joe Day, which February 1st, which also means we should see some brand new digital renders, new reveals, possibly some announcements for pre-orders, and just some crazy stuff. Now, personally, all of that good stuff aside, what I really would have wished for GI Joe Day, which is something they haven't done in the past like 2 or 3 years. I know that they usually just, they reveal renders and they talk about what's going up for pre-order at some point and all that stuff. But what I really would have loved the GI Joe team to do is really talk about not just GI Joe that we all grew up in love, which was most likely the comics and the cartoon series, and of course collecting the action figures, but to know the history of GI Joe is like its own thing. It's not just what that projected it to be, even though that's what made it a lot more popular. It would have been a lot better if, they talk about the 12-inch figures of Joes. They talk about how, the inspiration behind utilizing like military combat style, heroes as the forefront for certain action figures, like those 12-inch versions, like the sailor and then the scuba diver, as well as like the parachute, stuff like medics and all that stuff. Kind of, because think about it, Hasbro has like all the archives, right? It would be really nice to really just do like a cool little like a little timeline of how GI Joe has changed drastically over the years, not in a bad way, but just enjoy how we went from 12-inch figures to a revamp of having the 3-inch figures, and how the cartoon really paved the way, especially with the comics, and kind of talk about the lore of GI Joe and why it became extremely popular or why they think it became extremely popular, because we know that there were other, action figure brands. Like I know there was Kenner Star Wars roughly around the same time, and they've had like the 5 points of articulation, whereas, and I could be wrong, but then we have GI Joe, who comes in here with their O-rings, and they're giving us like all this knee joints and elbow joints and this, the O-ring rubber in order for the figure to move, and like kind of, interview like Larry Hama, talk about how he was inspired to do all these different storytellings for G.I. Joe, especially in the comics. And I think like that would be very informative. I know a lot of you may not care about it, but again, as who's it, Carlos Alina says in the comments, 2026 is going to be the 62nd anniversary of G.I. Joe. And I think that would be fantastic to just kind of dive into, just what they love about the brand, what they love about the line, and maybe interview whoever is still active, still here, that was once part of the GI Joe Hasbro brand, because we know that there's a lot of newcomers, new faces on the Hasbro team, and they're doing their best to give us the GI Joe that we once loved at some point. But to be quite honest, Classified is not the same, obviously, as the O-rings, but it's still good as, it's good as we can expect it to be, as at least, giving them props for giving us 6-inch figures for the new market of toy collecting, which we're all heading in now. Cobra La says, I'm hoping that they finish the OG 13 and Cobra La this year. Yeah, man. So the original 13 were two freaking figures away from finishing the original 13. We have Flash, and then we have Grand Slam. It's crazy how they are roughly, I thought that they would, spread it out a lot more just to kind of yank us for our money for a while, but two figures left. Like, all right, let me ask you guys in the chat, do you think that Flash and Grand Slam would be a 2-pack, knowing how they're roughly the same design style figures? One's red, or do you want Grand Slam to be the silver version with the jump? That could be really cool. Like either 2-packs where they're both red, or individual releases where one is red with the pads and padded, torso, where the other one is silver. So, I mean, it really depends on your preference, but I think either way could work. Or they could give us a 2-pack where both of them are wearing the red, but then they do an exclusive version where you have Grand Slam with the silver, and do like, with the jump and stuff like that. I think that would be sick. I don't know if you guys would want to spend that much money on it, but it's possible. Alan Balcom says, the mystery $60 figure you did in the video about last time, was that an outline as the thumbnail of the video? If so, then I'm seriously learning towards the Cobra La guard. That was the Cobra La guard. Yeah, that was just a silhouette of the Cobra La guard, because I'm trying to figure out like what could be a $60 figure. But yeah, I mean, it could pretty much not be Cobra La anyway. Like a lot of people have been speculating on that video that it's going to be Taurus and Reddog 2-pack, because it was a good indication that a lot of people have said, some people were saying like, yeah, $60 for a figure, like it's probably going to be a 2-pack, but then someone said, yeah, but do you guys remember that Ghost Viper was $60 as well, if I remember correctly? And that was just one figure with like all those translucent green pets, and he was an army builder for freaking Crystal Ball. So, yeah, so it could, I mean, to be quite like having a what do you call it, a figure being $60 is nothing new, because again, like the price hikes and all that stuff. So I could, it's not a big deal that it's $60 in the sense of like, oh, it's like a shock to all of us, because we should know by now that, the prices are going up. But when you think of a $60 figure, though, it has to be like a big deal, right? Because I wouldn't have made a video if it was like, oh yeah, this will be a $45 figure or like a $35 figure. I could care less if it was like that kind of price. But if Jedi Jaybird, who's the source of that thing, says like it's a $60 figure, then it has to be a big deal. So that's why I made a video about it, because $60 is close to roughly to $100. So so it's gonna be crazy. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna turn out. And then a lot of people in the chat is saying it's probably gonna be Globulus. Globulus is a very, very how do I explain Globulus? $60 for Globulus, it has to justify the way the figure looks. For those who own, like, or I shouldn't say own the original Globulus, but those who have seen Globulus, in the 87 movie, which is our only version of what we have of him, like fully, Globulus is a big ass figure, or he's like very muscular. He has a lot of detail. Like, yeah, he has the bald head, but he has the eye patch. And then he has like, I believe it was the right arm that's all green with the Cobra La, what is it? Whatever the insect, whatever the hell Cobra Law is, all those crustacean stuff. Then he has the tail. Now, to justify the price of Globulus, this is the only way that the G.I. Joe team could really screw this up is by not including the pod with Globulus. Now, the reason why I say this is because, yeah, like I would love to have you guys save money, but Globulus seems like the type of figure where you have to have, you know, the arms and then the torso, obviously, and then the head, and then whatever accessories that he comes with. But it has to be in a situation where you can remove the bottom half, like the waist piece, and then you connect the tail that goes into Globulus as a figure. And then because I figure the G.I. Joe team is not going to invest money in making like a bendy wire super duper tail, but if you remove Globulus's tail and you incorporate a peg into the pod, which is a separate like two connecting type of piece, I think that would be a very, very crucial, amazing like price of a figure. If they just do Globulus with just him and his tail, then it's fine for what it is, but then they would need to include like a stand or something, or it would have to be a rubbery material, like a rubbery kind of material for them to do like bendy wire. But I don't know if the Joe team would do something like that and invest that kind of money. So having a swap out feature of the pod and the tail would be sick, because imagine if you were to open the box, the packaging of Globulus, and you have the pod but it's split in two pieces, but all you have to do is just connect it together, and on the top there's like a hole, and then the hole gives you like a peg for him to connect the torso piece into the pod. So it doesn't make it too complicated, but that would be much beneficial instead of giving us like a way for collectors to like scrunch up the tail and then like shove it into the pod and all that stuff. That would just be like way too complicated. So yeah, I don't know how that would work. All right, so let's go to the chat real quick. Oh, I'm so behind. Give me a second. Okay, Nor Gatherer says, I grew up with the 12-inch versions in the 70s. Oh, damn, shout out to Nor Gatherer. We got a legend here. Wilfredo Diaz, welcome to the chat, says, I think I'm late, but I hope I didn't miss out much. Nope, we just started. Stay safe in the snowstorm as a tad affecting you guys. Definitely. Yeah, we just had a great conversation about snow. Alan says, but that's too much for what many will consider a true builder. That's true. I had some of the 12-inch figures in the late 70s, says Cobra La 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 La. He also says, hope that Cobra La Royal Guard isn't a $60 figure. Well, we have to look at the facts that the Royal Guard comes with, those extra wings. He comes with 2 alternate head sculpts. He comes with, what does he come with? He comes with, I don't know, the cape and all that other stuff. So it's a very good chance he could be a $60 figure too. I mean, if freaking Ghost Viper was $60, then they wouldn't put past a Royal Guard, especially knowing that all you need is Globulus to complete the Cobra La, because they're only 2 figures away from completing Cobra La at this point, unless they decide to add like a brand new figure into the line. Derek Holloman says, I need a swamp skier. Alan Balcom says, got me a new 3D printer. I might have to start printing things like the swamp skier and water moccasin. Ooh, the water moccasin would be sick though. The Loneliest Monk says, red and silver, not a 2-pack. And Derek Holloman says, if it's a 2-pack, better not be an exclusive. Knowing the G.I. Joe team, they're going to make Flash and Grand Slam. If it's a 2-pack, they'll just toss it as a Target exclusive and screw everybody over, just like how they did Steeler and Short Fuse. David Fords, welcome to the chat, says, I'm new and just subbed. I missed out on the Snowcat and I pre-ordered Arctic. Welcome, David Ford, to the chat. It's good to have you, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. He says he missed out on the Snowcat, but I did pre-order the Arctic. Man, like, well, hopefully it shouldn't be too bad, because you do know that, I mean, I know money isn't money, but You know, we're obviously going to see a lot of people selling extras and spares of their Haslabs on eBay, which is not ideal, but you know, if you're really inclined to getting it, you know that someone's going to have it there as a third party seller. I mean, or like, you know, or maybe a local comic book shop if you have anything close towards you. Derek Holman says rather than be separate. Carlos only says I think Flash will be a retro carded like Zap. Oh man, I forgot Zap was retro carded. And Grand Slam will be a deluxe figure with a jump backpack, jetpack. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm very, yeah, Zap being a retro card. I totally forgot about the retro stuff. Sean Jones, welcome to the chat. I believe you're new here. He says Deluxe Cobra Commander. Ooh. Yeah, man. That would be sick. Sean Jones, how would you want your Cobra Commander to look like if it's a deluxe? Cobra for Life says $60 figure is Globulus with his flying pod. Yes, sir. Flaming Crow says they need to be one and done individually in red, flash, and silver and Grand Slam. Then we have Anakin Solo says Zanya Swamp Skier. But with her being a $60 figure with a Swamp Skier, I mean, Swamp Skier, to be quite honest, isn't like the most technical engineered vehicle to begin with. So they would have to really, you know, lower the price on that, I suppose, because the Swamp Skier is not like super duper intense, you know. Alan says they need to release them in a classified as well as we need them in a box, not a card back. Yeah, I was kind of taken back by Zap being a retro card instead of being in the original classified box. That really does kind of, for inbox collectors, if you're someone that wants to have all the you know, original 13 in package and you place them all together and then you see like freaking Zap in his retro card where everyone else is in the standard square box, you're just kind of like, what the F? So I really don't know what the plan was behind that one. Even for Crazy Legs, why did Crazy Legs get a retro card? I mean, I get it because he looks exactly like the O-ring, but there's some thought process that I just don't understand the G.I. Joe team doing. Hold on. Where am I? Jason Treatise, welcome to the chat, says, what's up, Shark? Welcome, Jason. It's good to have you here, brother. T Blades says, not sure, but according to Full Force, it has a separate listing from the others. Separate listing, huh? What could that separate listing? Maybe it's a G.I. Joe and Transformer 2-pack. Maybe it's frickin' Snake Eyes and Optimus Prime, because we know that they're doing the G.I. Joe and frickin' Transformers crossover, and then they're doing comics about that too, so maybe we're gonna see a frickin' Transformer G.I. Joe 2-pack. That shit would be intense. Stalker with the boat says Anakin Solo. Ionic Blood says, damn, that leaker from China is slacking. Yeah. To be quite honest, I'm very happy the fact that we're not getting a lot of G.I. Joe classified leaks. The leaks are exciting, but they're also very annoying because I really like, for example, if we're near February 1st, I would love to just see the announcement or just see what the G.I. Joe team has to offer. Like, sure, we can do the whole coding and stuff like that, but you know, there's nothing more exciting than just, you know, logging on and just seeing like new reveals, right? And it's something that we wouldn't anticipate for. So I think that's what makes collecting much more fun instead of the leaks. Because I know like Marvel Legends, McFarlane Toys, all that stuff, like all those leaks come out, and then whoever it is from China is always leaking out those figures and like prototypes and stuff. And as cool as it is, it just kind of sucks the fun out of it too. So okay, hold on. Ionic Blood says we would have some picks by now. That's very true. Wilfredo Diaz says Grand Slam Deluxe with the jump pack. Jason says, what did Jason say? Some dude was selling his Joe's collection for food. It's getting rough out there. Dude, you guys have no idea how many people I've seen start like selling off their G.I. Joe classified collection. The line is still thriving, and there's still a lot of new collectors into the classified line, and there's still a lot of us in it, but either a lot of people have gone selective, or many many that once were diehard classified collectors have also sold their entire collection. So those of us who are still here are hanging on by a thread at this point. All right. And Derek Holloman says Globulus would be more expensive. That's true. Damn it, I lost track of the chat. Where am I? Shoot. Okay, here I am. $60 could be for Zanya and the Chameleon vehicle, says Scott Mora. Welcome to the chat. Chad Kinsler, welcome to the chat as well. Flaming Crow says Globulus will be an exclusive, just like Pythona. Oh, 100%. They cannot do Globulus as a normal release. It has to be like some type of San Diego Comic-Con or some type of, what's the other event? Like Comic-Con, like either San Diego or it has to be New York Comic-Con type of event exclusive for sure. Stigma, New York City, or yeah, Yo Shark in chat, welcome Stigma, how's it going? Jason says, anyone see that G.I. Joe skit with that dub over Globulus? Mickey loved you. No, I did not, but I'll check it after the stream's over. Ionic Blood says, pod is mandatory, I agree. Cobra La says Globulus will be probably $80 to $100 with Hasbro exclusive, I agree. Wilfredo says, I'm wondering if the $60 figure is the Royal Guard. It could, but we don't know just yet. Alan says, I think they'll do a Globulus with a pod to put in him. I could easily see it being around $75 to $80. Yeah, I mean, that seems more reasonable just because Globulus is a beast of a character. And he's probably the last one they're going to do, right, with Cobra Law, unless they do, like, any other jobber from Cobra Law, like some background character, but it wouldn't be $60, that's for sure. Connecting tails to the pod. Carlos says, Globulus without a pod would feel incomplete. I agree. Anakin Solo says, nobody thinking version 2 Stalker with all the snow shit. That could be a possibility. That version 2 Stalker. Where am I? Jason says, be cool if he had his tall regular legs. Oh yeah, I forgot about giving him regular legs too. That could be something. That would be cool. I wouldn't know what it would look like, but that could be interesting. Dave McDonald, welcome to the chat. Says a tall that fits inside a pod would be San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Agree. Also, I believe David McDonald is new to the chat, so welcome. Alan says, I need to detail on Globulus' face. Yes, the detail on Globulus has to look incredible, that's for sure. They can't skimp out on that detail. Oh, Joe Barrett, my brother, what's going on? Hey, Shark, just checking in. How are you doing? I'm doing great, man. Loving the snowstorm. How are you doing? Hopefully you're safe, Joe. I think you're in California, but yeah, hopefully you're doing well, though. I'm doing fine. I'm thriving in this snowstorm right now. It's still snowing as I speak, which is great. Derek Holloman says, I can see the Royal Guard be $50. Yeah, but with $50, how much was the Striker? I forgot. Loneliest Monk says, I like the peg idea. I would hope they'd be surprised with Globulus. Everyone that wants that figure, it comes with a pod, but what if he comes with more than just a pod? Yeah, I mean, I forgot who just mentioned it, but having Globulus come with individual legs as well could be very interesting as well. Alan says, I have found steel and short fuse at Walmart. Oh, shout out to Joe Bits Toys for giving $2 for the channel donation. Says Snowmageddon 2026 survival donation. That's hilarious. Thank you so much, man. You get a shark heart. Thank you so much for those $2. I will utilize those $2 and get myself a hot chocolate. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Those $2 will keep me warm. Thank you, man. It's good to have you here on the channel and in the chat. And I just gave you a shark heart too. Loneliest Monk says the Energon comic run indicates that he can merge with more than just the pod. He can pretty much merge with any of the Cobra Law animals. Let's go way out of the box here. I mean, how does I didn't really check. How does Globulus look in that comic? Does he look the same as he did in the 87 movie, or does he have like a drastic different appearance like Nemesis Immortal Enforcer does? Robert Wantland, what's going on? Great supporter of the channel. Good to have you, Robert. It's good to see you, brother. Says evening all. Sean Jones says Hooded and Fred head. That's yeah. A lot of people want Fred, so I guess he's a high in demand. Derek says I hope it's not 50 or more. I need at least 3 Royal Guards. I forget 3, bro. 6 is a great number. Ionic Blood says who's the Dreadnought female mechanic? She could come with the Swamp Skier. That would be Heart Wrencher. You know what's funny? There was a leak of sorry, not like an actual prototype, but there was a leak, quote unquote, leak listing like 2 years ago that Heart Wrencher was supposed to come out, but it never came out. So I guess some leaks are just not real, and that's okay. Timothy James, welcome to the chat. It's good to see you. Says Hooded Cobra Commander. Hell yeah. I mean, let's be honest. We're all waiting for Hooded Cobra Commander at this point. Robert says, "What have I missed?" We just talked about Snow. We're talking about GI Joe Day and Globulus and a possible short fuse and Flash. Grand Slam and Flash 2-pack if that's a thing. All my figures are still in box, says Alan. Yes, sir. Sean Jones says Bazooka and the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. Oh, nice. Anakin Solo says red. Alan says Ionic. That is Zanya's. Are you talking about Heart Wrencher or Zanya? Because that's that's Zartan's daughter. Emily as an action figure could command the $60 price point. You want an Emily action figure? Says Jason. Anakin Solo says, would you be lucky to get a figure of a chameleon for $60? I mean, I know you guys love the chameleon, but let's get a water moccasin for Copperhead. That's long overdue. Sean Joe says Haslab, Optimus, and Snake Eyes. I would pass on all Joe Transformers. Elvin Martinez Jr., welcome, says good evening, Shark. How's it going with the shark emoji? So cool. It's good to have you, brother. Hope you're doing well. And a snowplower just went by and ruined everyone's hard work. That's great. Derek Holloman says, I'd rather not have the leaks. I'd be surprised. Yes, I'm with you 100%. They are, hold on. Derek says maybe there's no leaks because of the factory change. Yes, the factory change went to Taiwan, right? Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. A Carmen Jr. says $60 figure. How about a 2-pack of Tomax and Zamba in business attire? Wishful thinking. Tomax and Zema in business in their extensive enterprise suits would most likely, I would say, would be like a Comic-Con exclusive. Regular release would definitely be peg warming like crazy, because I know a lot of people would want a Tomax and Zema in blue suits, but you know that the Joe team wouldn't be that easy on us, and they would definitely toss a curveball and be like, nope, it's a Comic-Con exclusive. Cobra Law says, I just need last two original 13, and from Cobra Law and the others, I'm done. Cobra Law is done, everyone. Uh-oh. Flaming Crow says, I really miss being surprised at their reveals. All the leaks suck. Yeah. That's why on at least for my channel, I try to not do leaks. I try not to post any prototypes. I don't, like, maybe I'll talk about it, but I won't showcase the photos or images because I don't want to spoil the surprise. Because when G.I. Joe Day comes in February, I want to wake up, check my phone, and say, holy shit, that figure is coming out? That's sick. I don't want to just open it and be like, oh, we knew this was coming out because so-and-so said it was coming out. I want to like wake up like it's freaking 80s and 90s, and kind of like, I remember we used to look at those old Sears catalogs and like KB Toys and Toys R Us catalogs and be like, holy shit, like that's a new figure coming out next year. Like, I want to go back. I want this channel to be that kind of excitement, to be like, holy shit, I didn't know this was coming out. This is fun. And that's where I want to take it back to those old nostalgic days, not like, go back to those times where it'd be like, some dude from Asia leaked out like 5 prototypes, so these are exactly the figures coming out. Hold on. Let's see. We got some new people here in the chat. Where are we? Hold on. Alan Balcom says, "What's up, Robert Wantlin?" David says, "Classified needs more vehicles and some dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts need motorcycles for sure. I don't know when that's happening. Of course, everybody wants their Thunder Machine too." Alan Balcom says, "A friendly reminder. Yes, make sure you guys hit that like button. I totally forget to do this. Yeah, hit the like button. Let's get to 50 likes on tonight's stream. I think we're at like 30 right now. So since this is the first stream of 2026, let's get to 50 likes and see how far we can go, because the more likes we get on this video, the more YouTube's going to help me in the algorithm, and then we'll have more fun in the future." So I would appreciate it. Hold on, but Alan Balcom says, let's do 55. So, okay, so he wants to do 55 likes. So let's try to do 55 likes in tonight's stream and dedicate it to Alan. I'm waiting for power to go out. Oh no, don't wait for the power to go out, then we won't be able to stream. The striker was 99 bucks. Oh damn. Robert says, though not interested in Cobra Law, they have to knock out the park for those who want it. Yes. I mean, I already, or, you know, while we're here, let's just take a look at the Cobra Law. Look at this guy. Even though there's two renders of the Cobra Law figure. There's this one, and then there's the one with the wings, which we will, I want to save the wings one, which I'm sure a lot of us have already seen already. The wings with the different antennas and like the horns and like the whole crustacean and like bug-like, you know, aesthetic. It's, I think Cobra Law is going to be like one of the top figures of 2026. I feel like they absolutely nailed it. Like they did a really, really, really great job with this guy. I mean, he looks very, accurate, but also modern, yet having some type of nostalgic design element to it, which only means that if you own the original O-ring version of the Royal Guard, you know that his faceplate or his mouthpiece was like beige, and there was like different color schemes and like circular designs, if I remember correctly. So we can probably guarantee that we're going to get a retro carded Royal Guard at some point, just to give an incentive to army build Royal Guards, because this one has a really good like look to it, and it kind of, if I remember correctly, it looks like the one from the movie, whereas the original O-ring one was a different design, so or color scheme as well. The Loneliest Monk says he looks the same. Cobra for Life says, I don't understand Hasbro. The Swamp Skier should come with the Sundowns version. Yeah, but it depends how many versions of Zartan people would want at this point, because there's already like, what, 5 versions of Zartan, so I'm sure this next Zartan version has to look like the retro card back Zartan, but then they would have to be able to utilize the skin color changing blue stuff to make it an incentive to buy the same figure twice, even though the highlight would be the Swamp Skier, but they would have to add in that blue gimmick to make it pop out a bit more. Anakin says, I'm close to done too. Miss, welcome to the chat, says, what's up, Shark, with the shark emoji. Good to have you, another legend here on the channel. Carlo says, I want Tomax and Zamots in suits. Tomax and Zamot in suits should come with the Fred head. I'm with you, Shark, give me a surprise. I want the Fig Carnage in 3D. That's definitely a $60 figure. We kind of needed those snow figures today. Yeah, man. Today was such a beautiful day to take out all these figures. The crazy part is like, it's only January 25th of 2026. The part that I find really funny is that we have to wait all the way till probably late November or early December to probably have all of these figures in hand. So roughly around this same time next year, we're going to see photography of all these figures together. Oh man, that's crazy. Scott Mora says, we haven't seen the official packaging yet. Do you think they could make the Royal Guard a 2-pack? I don't think so. Well, yeah, no. Well, if the Royal Guard did not come with the extra wings and those that extra head sculpt and the two other Cobra La blue, civilian heads, then yeah, 2-pack probably would have been essential. But the fact that this Cobra La already comes with a lot of stuff, then definitely we will see more. I think, because think about it, how often does the GI Joe team gives us troop builders in a good amount of quantity? Like if it's a Royal Guard, they're not gonna say, they most likely won't give us a 2-pack. They'll be like, we want to make the most money possible and then create FOMO and high in demand for it. So one per figure. Because think about it, Eels individual releases, Snow Serpent individual releases, Alley Viper individual release. Who else am I missing? Any type of army builder and classified roughly individual release. So that's the name of the game. But someone says the packaging. Oh yeah, Anakin Solo says he'll come in a nice box. Yes, I 100% agree. I think the box would be great. Alan says no, they won't make it a 2-pack. There really isn't another figure to box him with unless you make it a 2-pack Royal Guard. Anakin says a 2-pack, one Royal Guard and one a-hole. Nice. Joe Barrett says, I'm doing great, bud. Had some rain here in San Diego and a bit chilly. Went home to Portland, Oregon last weekend and really froze my ass off. Checked on my G.I. Joe collection and storage. Ooh. Yeah, good call. Very good call. So looking at these renders, the fact that Frostbite, Lady Jaye, and Flint isn't even scheduled for like a July, August release date. So we still got like a long time for those. And then the Arctic Assault His Tank driver isn't even scheduled till freaking November or I think December of this year. And then we have no idea what's going to happen with the 3-pack of the quote unquote White Night Viper, aka Drift Viper, and then Saw Viper, and then that Steel Core figure. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're gonna be seeing these renders for like the next 10 months. I mean, unless they give us like actual photography. Well, they already did for the Snowcat, but I'm talking about the photography where they have the figure and then they have the weapons next to it, like with the white background and stuff. Utilizing the actual figure. It's probably going to be like some time until we see those figures come about. So yeah, damn, it's crazy how this timing is just going to be crazy. Ionic Blood says, what's the odds we get an Iron Grenadier Destro with this despoiler this year? What are the odds? That really depends. I mean, there's two ways to think I'm trying to think of it from a marketing perspective. I feel like Iron Grenadier Destro is kind of like the main event for the Iron Grenadiers, right? Like we're holding on to it. We want that figure. We need it. He's got the gold head. He's got the spiked shoulder pads. He's got the cape and he's got the black outfit. Like, we know that's a really sick figure, and plus, I don't know if you guys care about that despoiler or not. But then there's also so many other Iron Grenadier figures in that particular subline where I feel like if they release Destro too early, it might lose momentum for them to release characters like Voltar or all those other like 6, 7 characters that I forgot the name of who are like, the ones that people are not too familiar with. So I feel like if they could at least get Voltar out of the way, if they could at least get um, some of the other uh, figures part of that line, then they should really end the Iron Grenadiers with Destro and his Despoiler. But then again, if they do a really great job with Destro, then maybe everyone's gonna be like, oh, well, I still want the rest. But for me, the way I would market it, which is probably not a great idea, but just to get people, you know, holding on to their toes, is just, release the other Grenadier figures first, the ones that still need to be made, because then those are going to be peg warming, most likely. But highlight figure for me is definitely Voltar, just because I love the whole fuchsia purplish pink color scheme and stuff like that. So that would be that would look really sick in the classified line, as long as it's not like muted purplish pink, but that it should be like a nice looking fuchsia color, which would be sick. Slimebone, welcome to the chat, says that Lady Jaye head sculpt is the best yet. I 100% agree. This Lady Jaye is probably one of the main reasons why people wanted to fund the Lady Jaye, and it's not just because of her coming in the fur coat and the fact that she comes in her cartoon accurate green pants, because all the Lady Jays we have so far are not accurate to the cartoon by any means yet. Because traditionally Lady Jaye has the, what is it? What does she have? Oh, I'm forgetting. Can someone help me out here? My mind is blanking. She has the dark green torso and brown pants, right? It's not green, right? It's brown pants? Or is it dark green bottoms and... Oh my god, my brain. Somebody help me out here. Where's Carlos? Where is Rachel? Derek Hallman says, same, Voltar was my last O-ring I bought as a kid. Voltar with an actual vulture and airtight are my big ones this year. The vulture has to be articulated with great looking wings, because we know that Shipwreck's poly was a major disaster. I mean, it's sculpted nice, but the fact that they didn't do any articulated wings, no articulated beak or jaw or anything, that was a huge missed opportunity. And I understand it's a parrot or whatever, parakeet, whatever the hell it is. It's a very small ass figure or pet, but hey man, like, it could have gone a long way. They probably made it intentionally small so it could obviously fit on the peg of Shipwreck, or like that that accessory on his shoulder. But anyways, so back to Lady Jaye. We know that the first release of Lady Jaye was abysmal. And then we know that the other, how many Lady Jays have we had? The retro Lady Jaye, and that's it, right? There's only 2 Lady Jays. Okay, yeah. So the first Lady Jaye was abysmal with her head sculpt. The second Lady Jaye was the retro card back, and her face sculpt was a little bit more better because they added like makeup and shit and the hat and whatever. But then this version, though, this one looks fantastic. So yeah, so this Lady Jaye is definitely the highlight of the entire, well, I know Frostbite's great and all, but if you want like an accurate face looking Lady Jaye, and as long as they don't screw over collectors by giving us a different joint for the neck peg, or like the little, the hole in her head that doesn't fit with the other Lady Jaye figures, I'm gonna be pissed. But as long as you can kind of like swap out the heads and put it on the other figures, I think that would be great. Let's see here. Lonius Monk says OG Lady Jaye came with the dark green pants. Okay. So who had the brown pants? Oh, I was thinking of the Operation Blackout video game Lady Jaye. She's the one that had the dark green torso and the brown pants. Oh, yeah. See? That's the one I was thinking about. The Operation Blackout video game version of Lady Jaye. the PlayStation 4 one. It's all good, Carlos. No worries. Anakin Solo says, I'm gonna buy that Lady Jaye for $100 and be happy. I mean, it's a good, I mean, yeah. We all deserve a really good looking Lady Jaye. Merging Line, welcome to the chat, says the Cobra Law figure designs look nice, but I'm not getting them. I mean, yeah, it's really not for everyone. It just depends if you are a big fan of the Cobra Law scenes in the movie, or if you're strictly on the military aspect of GI Joe and want like just really grounded looking figures, or if you're someone that just wants good looking figures and doesn't care about the whole sci-fi futuristic crazy crustacean storyline for GI Joe. But anyways, now that we hit the 1 hour mark, let's talk about predictions for for where are we? GI Joe Day. So we'll come back to these digital renders in the future, of course, because we got freaking a whole year to look at this shit. Let's take a look at the coming soon. This is like the most exciting part of any one of my videos. By the way, we're at 45 likes. Alan Balcom says he wants 55 likes. Who are these last 10 people to give a like on this video? Forever now, hold your peace. Serpenter is peak figure. So I agree and also disagree with Serpenter for one reason only. Serpenter, yes, it's a really, really good looking figure, but there are only, for me, there's only two flaws I have with that figure. One, that what do you call it? The blades that Serpenter comes with, and was it his sword or something else? I don't remember. It should have had, the blades should have just been like silver, right? And not that nasty looking grays. I mean, I know it's a very, very, very minor nitpick and it's not a big deal, but for being an exclusive figure, it needed to, and especially with the price point of that, the Joe team should have really outdone themselves and given us silvers instead of that ugly ass gray color scheme. The second flaw that Serpenter has is that he didn't come with a yelling Cobra Law face. Yes, the face of him with a stern look is fantastic. I love it. But if you watch the movie and have seen, obviously Serpenter in the cartoon, obviously in the comics as well, but he's usually yelling Cobra Law, or he has like a yelling face. So having him not yell is kind of a big missed opportunity, which only means that they could easily do a repaint or a reissue of Cobra Law, or sorry, of Serpenter, with an alternate head sculpt as well. So that's video. Otherwise, the figure is like a 9 out of 10 for me. Definitely a great figure. It's just, it has some minor flaws that could have been like 100% fantastic though. Shout out to Mr. Sampson. Welcome for joining in the chat, aka Santa Sampson, the legend. Thank you so much for joining, Mr. Sampson. I hope you're doing well in your state. Oh, we have another legend here in the chat. We have Sendel Krishnan says, "What's up, Shark? Definitely a Thunder Machine and Thrasher in 2026. Hell yeah." Where am I going? Yeah, Thunder. So, yeah. What do we? Yeah, so we just had the Haslab Snowcat. So this year it has to be a Cobra vehicle, which only means I mean, I know a lot of people saying that the Thunder Machine is not big enough to be a Haslab, but let's, for the sake of conversation, let's just say if they just forget everything and let's just say it is a Haslab. If the Thunder Machine is a Haslab, of course, Thrasher has to be the essential figure to come with the vehicle. Everyone else in that tiers I could care less for, but definitely have to do it with a Thrasher. They can do it separately. Ionic says Serpenter is going to get their Crazy Legs retro card treatment. Yes, but there has to be a catch though. I mean, obviously they're not going to give him the air chariot, which is going to be the downfall maybe for the figure, but I think they might give him a different color scheme, because if you look at yojo.com, Serpentor has multiple different color schemes. He has like a vibrant lime green, I think, and then he has like a pale yellow. He has like a little bit of a different design. So yeah, I mean, it just depends. Robert says, I'm down for Iceberg, Zanya, and Deep Six unless Shark tricks me to Chibang. I mean, if Chibang looks really great, I'm definitely going to get it just because I have a whole ninja collection going on here. Huge Mortal Kombat fan. Got to get my ninjas. So, Chibang. So, people were telling me in my previous videos that Chibang is going to be in a 2-pack with Dojo. Even if that's true, I'm going to wait until we get official confirmations from the Joe team, and then I'll add Dojo's name on here. So for now, I'm going based off in order on reveals that we've gotten so far. So the list that you see right here is everything from order of how the Joe team revealed it. So that's why whatever they reveal during GI Joe Day this coming February 1st, I'll include the list under Chibang, and then we'll see what happens from there. So let me see what else. Follow the pattern of Haslab's land, air, sea. Well, see, I don't know if they're still following that concept of not doing water vehicles, because they did that focus group like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I don't even remember at this point. And even though the Joe team did say like everything is on the table, nothing is off the table, etc., but they did say like the water vehicles are not like happening, I guess, or they're not focusing on that just yet. So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, water vehicles, come on, give me Copperhead's water moccasin, give me the hydrofoil. I want that shit. That would be sick. Anakin Solo says Night Raven. Alan says, I don't need it a Haslab, I just need a Thunder Machine and Thrasher. That's true. Night Raven would be a Haslab for sure. Robert says, that's a fact. Anakin says, let's push Night Raven, go big or go home. Slimebone says, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Deep Six. Okay, I want to give a shout out to somebody who wrote a comment on my previous SHARKNEWZ video. I apologize if I don't remember your name. So, you wrote a comment on my previous video. He made a very good idea about Deep Six. 49er Brian, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. We have another legend here in the stream with all the shark emojis. So many legends, man. I remember mostly 99.9% of all of you, except for the newcomers here on the channel. But yeah, it's like I'm just sitting here talking with friends. That's freaking amazing. So somebody said in my previous SHARKNEWZ video, what if Deep Six, they do a thing where the figure is not 100% attached to his Buzz Lightyear suit? What if you could actually remove the figure out of the actual suit? That way you have that whole, robotic mech suit, whatever, of Deep Six, and then you have him wearing like a gray jumpsuit or whatever they're going to add like underneath as just like an Under Armour, like a water uniform or something, which I know which kind of defeats the purpose of Deep Six, because we know that the original just had his big head floating inside that little tube or the orb, and then he had like, the body armor and stuff. But I thought that was a very great idea of them utilizing a way to incorporate the figure into the actual bodysuit, which could be a great idea. That would be nice. Bearing a huge screw up, I will be backing whatever the Haslab will be, says Robert. A Mamba says Anakin. Give me a bug as a Haslab, says Anakin. Oh gosh. A Carmen Jr. says, I'd rather the Thunder Machine with Thrasher be a standard release and a Cobra Mamba as a Haslab. Hell yeah. Okay, I see where you're going with that. Liquid Identity says, doubt they can even do a full figure suit like that. That's why the snake ended up mech size. Well, interesting. I mean, but the thing is, with the snake, the snake armor, whatever, you could actually fit the figure, sitting down, etc., by lifting up the hatch and stuff. But the Deep Six figure, though, I guess it might be a little bit difficult for them to have a way to toss the figure in there. So then it would probably have to be a one-piece figure, and then the neck is just going to be probably glued up in there, I guess. I don't know. Mr. Sampson says mech suit would be awesome if he doesn't come with the shark. I mean, yeah, because the shark itself is already big, and then Deep Six is already a big-ass figure, roughly. So to take a big-ass figure, put it inside a big-ass vehicle, I mean, and especially in 6-inch scale, that's going to be, and especially that I believe Deep Six has to lie down, right? So then that's another thing to look out for. So yeah, I don't think they would do the shark. Doesn't seem like it would happen. Alan with the funny comment saying if the Shark and Deep Six figure was released, Shark would get like 15 in the mail as subscriber gifts. All I'm gonna say, man, is the name Shark is just gonna be freaking everywhere once they do Deep Six and the Shark or Shark. That shit's gonna be freaking hilarious, because for all those YouTubers who don't like me, man, just when you guys do your reviews and whenever you say the word shark, you're gonna think of me. So that's gonna be a field day for me. I don't care if you even roll your eyes. I'm gonna have a blast with that one, because they're just gonna be like Deep Six and his fish. Oh, that's gonna be funny as hell. A mech suit that transforms into a shark. That would be interesting. My bet's on a hydrofoil. Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to think here. So I know Iceberg is definitely a figure that I definitely want, but I'm also waiting to see what he looks like first. Because Iceberg has to look great, because as much as I like the way Frostbite looks, there's something about him that looks a little bit, there's also, there's something about the Frostbite figure that doesn't really cater toward me, but I do love Snow Job, and so Iceberg has to be really, really great in detail, so I hope we get something like that. But out of this entire list, though, I'm really, really excited for Hydro Viper. And I won't even be surprised if Hydro Viper is a reuse of like Torpedo or Wetsuit's body. Like, I could care less, because it's most likely going to end up that way. Or even Eel, if they utilize the same exact body, it's going to be a no-brainer, because it's just the same exact physique in purple, or purplish pink color. But the main highlight for me for Hydro Viper has to be his actual mask. The mask that Hydro Viper comes with is it's very terrorizing. It's very it's scary. At least when I was a kid, when I saw that Hydro Viper and that mask, it scared the shit out of me. It's unfortunate that the O-ring version was just all red. Like, they didn't put any detail on that mask whatsoever, and it's just like a regular red helmet. You can slightly see the detail, but they didn't do a great job with that. But for Classified, though, it has to be like top tier design, because think about in the way of if they could create Crystal Ball and take a jobber of a character like that and turn him into one of my top 10 favorite classified figures, then 100% I have faith in the Joe team that Hydra Viper should look amazing. Because I think about, like, I could care less about Ninja Force Zartan, and Robert says, what does Chabang look like? Chabang looks like, how do I explain? He has like a yellow, I don't want to say do-rag, but he has like a yellow bandana style thing like that covers his head, and then he's got like a bluish yellow outfit with like some, going off the top of my memory, with like some black prints like spots on him. So it's not like the most ideal ninja uniform. So I think they'll probably update the hell out of that guy and make him look a little bit better. It's kind of similar to how they really updated Slice and Dice, because Slice had like a very, very simplistic design to him, but the classified version is definitely, for me, top tier, like top 15 or top 20 best classified figures in my opinion, at least in design wise. So Chabang is kind of like a mediocre looking design of a figure. So I think they'll probably do a really great job with that one. I mean, so Liquid Identity is a different version of Shipwreck. And speaking of Shipwreck, a lot of people want the Shipwreck with the beanie and the blue turtleneck, the dark blue turtleneck. And I think that's very possible to happen at some point. As long as they do like a brand new head sculpt for Shipwreck, because I wasn't a fan of that original Shipwreck head sculpt. So as long as they do like a new head sculpt, I think that would be a lot better. Okay, let's see here. How are we on time? Okay. Did he have the rooted hair? I'm not sure I follow the question. Deep Six Deluxe Shark would, oh, I just read that. Making him not a human. Oh, yeah, Anakin Solo says Budo got a good treatment. Yes, yes. But the thing is, Budo was already a really awesome O-ring figure. So the Joe team just took an already great looking figure and also made it pretty good in its own lane. So yeah, Budo, especially with all the Budo's accessories and stuff, holy shit, like that was fantastic. So yeah. So Budo, they did a really great job with Budo as well, especially with that, the alternate heads, and then those extra armor pieces, those samurai paddings and all that stuff. Like that was great. Oh, Bonsai. See, Carlos to the rescue. Great stuff. All right, so let me ask the chat. By the way, we are at 51 likes. Alan Balcom wants 55 likes. So whoever you 4 people are that never didn't like this tonight's stream, let's hit Alan Balcom's stream goal of 55. All right, so now let me ask the chat. So aside from this list that we see right here on the screen, I want you guys to list me your top 5 figures that you want to see announced during GI Joe Day. And it's okay if it doesn't come true. It's okay if it does come true. It doesn't even matter at this point. Let's just have fun with it and see where this goes, because there's a really good chance that maybe GI Joe Day they're going to give us 4 render reveals that are not even on this list, right? So that's going to be the element of surprise. So you guys give me 5 names that's not on this list that you want to see, that hasn't even been created yet in the Joe world. So let's let's see what you guys can come up with, and let's see how many of you think on the same scale. Thelonious Monk says, now that we're talking ninjas, can we get a Don Marino figure? Yeah. I mean, when would we get a Dawn figure? I think people are kind of like, they're chill on Snake Eyes at the moment, even though that's a female version of Snake Eyes, but I think we could kind of cool it down on Snake Eyes just for the time being. Alright, so Ionic Blood says Repeater, Recoil, Bullhorn, Thrasher, and Cutter. Damn, you said Bullhorn. That's a Deke throwback. Yeah, you heard me right. Robert says Thrasher. Got 4 more, man. He also says Quinn. Anakin says Quinn. Carmen. I keep botching your name. I'm sorry. He says Hooded Cobra Commander. Of course. I mean, that's definitely a big one that we all want. Carlos says Flash, Grand Slam, Hooded Cobra Commander, Thrasher, and Blizzard. Yeah. Blizzard would be sick. Blizzard has some really great accessories, man. I don't know how they're gonna pull that one off. I mean, he comes with like a little mini sled. He has like handlebars that stick out of his backpack, which is pretty weird and cool at the same time. So let's see how they're gonna do with that one. Merging Lion says high tech. Ooh. And then we got Tiger Claw, Crosshair, Venomous Maximus, and Overkill. Ooh, I think Overkill is a really good one. Overkill was, correct me if I'm wrong, which movie was that? Was that Valor versus Venom, or was that, I don't think it was Spy Troops, or was that a comic? Wasn't Overkill like, he started to, or was that in the Deke series? I think that was a Deke series. No, I don't remember. Overkill started to think for himself because he was a creation, and then I think he almost became good, or he almost like started to see a different path, but then somebody, who was it? They like rewired his brain again, and then he became evil, and then like it kind of sucked because Overkill was I think he almost had like quote unquote feelings, like at least for a robot. So I forgot where was that? Oh man. Mr. Samson says Scoop. Oh man, let's be honest, Scoop will be one of the best figures in the line. We all know it. We all love Scoop. Bitch ass Scoop is definitely a great one to have. Flaming Crow says airtight. Oh, absolutely. Interrogator is a great choice. Oh, dude. Well, Robert says I've never heard of Interrogator until Shark's recent video. If you read Interrogator's bio, that alone is one of the coolest figures, at least to own in any G.I. Joe scale, because I think, if I remember correctly from his bio, Interrogator does not, does he? Wait, it had something to do with like the red visor or something. I forgot what it was. Shit. It's almost like, no pun intended, he's very intimidating, right? So he looks at the person he's questioning, and they have so much fear because he's very something, and then like they start like shitting their pants, and then they have no choice but to like confess or show like their weakness, because I think he's just, it's either that or he has like a very rough voice or something like that. I don't even remember, damn, but he has a really cool bio. Definitely read it. I recommend you guys reading his bio. It gave me chills. Just like how I think it was Night Viper's bio, or I think it was Nemesis Immortal's Enforcer's bio, where it was like, um, something like, you don't find them, they find you, right? Like that shit is chilling. Like those bios that the GI Joe team used to do back in the 80s, like that shit was creepy as hell, man. I loved it. Um, Valor versus Venom says merging line. Billy gets no love. I think a few people said Billy before. Joe Barrett says, I want to see the last of the original 13 figures: Muskrat, Quinn, Jungle Viper, hell yeah, Heat Viper, and Arctic Doc. Ooh, Arctic Doc. That'd be cool. I'm still not a fan of the Doc figure that they released. There's something about it I don't like. There's a reason why I don't have it. I just not really a fan of it. There's something about it where I'm just like, it could have been a little better. I don't even know. I can't figure it out for the life of me why I don't like that figure. The head sculpt is fine. I think it's the torso. I think the torso doesn't do it for me. I'm not really sure. Headhunter Stormtroopers, yes, those are sick looking figures. I love it. I did a video on that one, the Headhunter Stormtrooper, so definitely check that out. Heat Viper is drooling, says Anakin. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the purple and like Sunny Delight orange, that would be sick. David Ford says Hardball, Spearhead, Star Viper, Muskrat, and Salvo. Yeah, I hear Salvo is a pretty good figure to have. Hardball is good. Spearhead and Max is definitely a figure that a lot of people want. Star Viper is definitely a deep cut for sure. And then Muskrat, oh hell yeah. Muskrat is one of my all-time favorites. Anakin says I'll go into Deluxe Astro Viper. What do you guys think of the character Vapor? There's something about Vapor that I really like. He looks like not like the greatest in design. There's just something about like the grays and blacks. Even Strato Viper, shit, like that's, oh man, so many great designs. You know, I mean, even though they just released Mercer, I would love to get the other version of Mercer where he has the black hair and he has like the silver arm. I always thought it was like a mechanical arm. I would love to see that one, the one that we see in the Deke series. That Mercer was my favorite, even though the Fun School version from India, he had black hair. The Hasbro version, official one, he had brown hair. But both hair colors makes the figure look sick. Yeah, so I think that version of Mercer I would love to have. Oh, 49er Brian with that Transformers reference of Old Snake. You know what I love about Old Snake is that when I was doing my review for the Transformers animated series, when I first saw Cobra Commander's appearance, I was a little confused because I was like, wait, what is Cobra Commander doing in Transformers? And then, you know, he went by the name Old Snake, and I was like, I was lost, right? Because I watched the G1 show a lot later in life. And then it wasn't until the ending of that episode where Old Snake was just like, he was working with Megatron, but then he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna come up with my own group, my own faction, and then he's walking towards the sunset. He has like the trench coat and then the fedora or the hat. And then he's walking towards the sunset. Then he's just like, one day, like everyone's gonna know my name and blah blah blah. Then he's like, I think he screams out Cobra or something, or he does like his signature laugh. And I was just like, holy shit, this was actually Cobra Commander before Cobra Commander and before GI Joe. So that was a really really cool introduction to that one. So I was so excited to see like this canon continuation of like Transformers and then GI Joe. And I think in the Transformers, which one? I think season 3 or the Transformers movie, one of the girls who's part of the space program or whatever, that's with Spike and Bumblebee, I think that's actually Flint and Lady Jaye's daughter. I could be wrong, but I think that was. So yeah, Transformers, the animated series, and the GI Joe, they both went hand in hand with that shit. So I was like, holy crap. Anakin Solo with the Annihilator, Alan Balcom with the Annihilator. Yeah, same good figure. Very good. All right. So with that being said, let's just go back once again to the upcoming 2026 events. So once again, it is January 25th at the time of making this video or streaming. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more days until February 1st. So only 6 more days until we finally start the brand new era 2026 of GI Joe Classified, which only means not only new render reveals, new possibly pre-orders, and some good figure announcements and shit, but we also have Toyfair on February 14th through February 17th, which means that a lot of the figures that are going to be showcased on GI Joe Day will 99 or 90% be showcased at Toyfair for those that are attending, which will be really exciting because if I remember last year during GI Joe Day, we saw reveals of Slice and Dice, we saw reveals of Retro Flint, CoverGirl, Televiper, the Snake Armor, the Awe Striker, and who else am I missing? I don't know. They revealed like a lot of shit last year, at least within to really start off GI Joe Day. So I'm really excited in these next 6 days, which will be so much fun. So are you guys excited for these next 6 days, or do you think something is going to leak out beforehand? Kenneth Bryant, welcome to the chat. I believe it's your first time here. He says he started saying Cobra, but then he started coughing. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. That sounds more legit than what I was thinking in my head. I wouldn't have expected anything less from Cobra Commander to cough after he says Cobra. Then Yojo June is in May. Just kidding. We have San Diego Comic-Con in July, which will be the new announcement for the next Haslab, which, holy shit, is going to be intense. Because last year, at the end of Yojo June, we all know that last year's Yojo June was a joke. So the last week, they announced the Snowcat of Yojo June. So we'll probably see the reveal of the next Haslab during the last week of Yojo June, which will head into San Diego Comic-Con, which will have the display for the next Haslab in all its tiers. Then we will see new exclusives, of course, which will be insane. Then we have Manchester's Comic-Con, which is in September. Then New York Comic-Con in October, which is more exclusives. I added the CCXP event in Brazil because we know that the GI Joe team went there recently, so that's going to be fun. Then that's in November, and then Walmart's CollectorCon. We have, I think, 3 or 4 events right now. I put at the bottom of the list because I forget which months they fall into. I know I have March, July, and October, but those are kind of like placement holder months. So I will add those in between this list as we go on, and then Target's Geek Out event, the summer and fall one, is usually a joke when it comes to classified. They're usually more known for like other Hasbro brands and NECA and McFarlane toys, but the last Target Geek Out event we had was Steeler and Short Fuse, and that was the summer one. So we should see that. So holy shit. So if every one of these events has at least 5 to 6 pre-orders, we're all about to get there. We're all gonna get our asses kicked, man. This year, I don't know why. I have a very, very interesting feeling about this year that it's gonna be insane. Annihilator's a good one. Shipwreck needs a Mara 2. Oh, someone said Shipwreck and Mara 2-pack. I like that. Good idea. Very excited, says 49er. They need to do a better job this year with Yojo June. I 100% agree. Abso effing lootly, says Robert. Seems like they dropped a lot next week. Yes. We might see a leak later in the week. Excited for February 1st, says Joe Barrett. Yes. All right, just do keep in mind for those that are still here on tonight's stream, if anything does happen to leak, yes, I will see it, but I will most likely not do a video on it. And if I were to do a video on it, I'm not going to post photos, but I'll definitely do as a discussion because I don't want to spoil any surprises other than having a discussion of if I feel like it's worthy enough to do a video on. Otherwise, I'll do like a post on the post tab page. But if anything does leak out, then we'll see what happens. But yeah, I definitely want to keep the suspense going for these next 6 days. I want to hibernate and not look at anything. And, you know, I mean, chances are we could see, like, if the pre-orders are going up already, which I don't think is likely, but let's say they have official product shots, then that's a different story. Then, you know, we'll talk about it. But if it's like a leak where no one has any idea what the hell is going on, I want to keep the suspense as much as possible before we head into the day, so we can all be excited and have fun together rather than just saying like, oh yeah, we already saw it. I mean, if you want to see it, go ahead, knock yourself out, but I definitely want to save the suspense and enjoy it for what it is. So, we should all say a prayer for Lenny. That's very true. So what a great way to end the stream, as Slimebone gives a $5 channel donation, says good night Shark, thanks for all you do. Thank you so much, it's not Slimebone, oh my god, Slimbone. I'm so sorry, brother. Thank you so much. I thought it said Slimebone for some reason. Slimbone, thank you so much for those $5 channel donations. Great way to end the stream. I really do appreciate that. That was a very nice way to wake me up. As I look outside, it is still snowing. Skies are still purple. I'm wishing everyone to stay safe. Hopefully everyone who's going to work tomorrow has safe travels. If you're working from home, congratulations. Enjoy your studio and toy room in this lovely snowy weather. Stay safe. Don't do anything crazy. So with that being said, I will definitely have more SHARKNEWZ videos in the week if anything happens. Anakin is doing a lot of digging tomorrow. Yeah, try putting some water. No, I don't do that. So yeah, so we'll probably see some great shit in the next 6 days. Otherwise, then we'll have not Yojo June. What is it? GI Joe Day pick up. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in on tonight's stream for the Sunday snow stream. I really do appreciate it. It was nice talking to you guys in the snowy atmosphere and this entire snowy day. It was fun talking about action figures. So with that being said, take care. I'll see you guys all in 6 days for the next live stream for GI Joe Day, which will be exciting. So stay tuned for more announcements, reveals, and other good shit. And now I'm about to do a cold plunge in the snow. So till then, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for the likes. And if you're new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. I'll see you guys all in the next live stream, which will be probably February 1st, and more videos. Till then, as Carlos